Let me tell you, if you ever think you know the measure of someone just by the uniform they wear or the job you see them dowel, maybe you've never met someone like Elena Vega, and you definitely haven't spent a summer at Fort Bennett, Arizona, during the Army's notorious training sessions, where sweat and ego pour out in equal measure and the desert heat can cook your boots right through the soles. Picture this, a ragtag bunch of young soldiers, all bravado and sharp edges, lined up with sniper rifles longer than some of their dreams, trading jokes, ribbing each other, barely noticing the woman at the far edge of the range, ponytail bobbing as she sorts out boxes of ammunition with the kind of steady patience you usually only see in saints or chess masters. Ellen Ash's just logistics, they always said. Shows up at 5 a.m. Sharp, rain or shine, cleaning up after everyone else, checking gear, lining up ammo, so precise you could use it to teach geometry. Most never paid her a second thought. Some, the ones with more mouth than sense, like to toss a comment her way like, "Why you looking through that scope, Vega? Just trying to see what real work looks like." And she'd only smile, jot something in her battered notebook, maybe adjust the windage on a rifle, as if she was practicing for an audience that didn't exist. Never shot around, not even once. Didn't need to, apparently. But you could tell if you looked that every single moment she spent on that range, she was learning more than half the unit ever would. One day, she picked up a busted M24, the bolt all jammed field stripped it, and had it working in 5 minutes flat, all without a word. Sergeant snapped, "You got a gunsmith's license?" But Lieutenant Ramirez, one of the few who actually paid attention, saw her hands, steady and practiced, and started to wonder if maybe there was a little more going on under that calm surface. Sometimes she'd glance at the desert mirage, squint against the wind, and you could almost see her running calculations in her head. Most had noticed, most never do. But then, things started to shift. Colonel Kenneth Rhodes, that legend of old-school command, announced a surprise Pentagon inspection. Tension spiked overnight. The usual routine broke, security everywhere, access locked down. When Elena tried to enter the range, an MP blocked her way. "No civilians on the range today, ma'am." She just nodded, turned, walked away, but Ramirez saw it in her eyes, a mix of disappointment and something deeper, like hunger for a shot she never got. Inspection day dawned brutal. Arizona sun baking the sand before breakfast. The range felt like a pressure cooker, and Colonel Rhodes, always stone-faced, lined everyone up and declared, "Today, you'll show these Pentagon brass why we're the best marksmen in the U.S. Army." You could hear the pride, and you could hear the threat, too. Elena watched from behind the fence, 400 yards off, just close enough to see but not to hear. She tracked every movement, every misfire, scribbling furiously in her notebook. Wind shifts, barrel angles, temperature swings. Soldiers fumbled their shots, nerves unraveling. Targets left clean as a whistle. The brass checked their watches. The contractors started to whisper. Colonel Rhodes looked like he might swallow his own cigar. Ramirez, curiosity finally too much, marched over to the fence. "What are you writing, Vega?" And she just handed him her notebook, crammed full of diagrams, wind readings, ballistic charts that looked like something out of NASA. She'd tracked everything: gusts, mirages, the way the earth warmed up the barrel, even the tilt of Private Johnson's scope. "How do you know all this?" Ramirez asked, and Elena just smiled, a little sad. 8 months out here, Lieutenant. I pay attention, and my father taught me that precision matters more than recognition." And when he heard the name Vega, you could see Ramirez's mind racing. Luis Vega, the Army's legendary sniper, Medal of Honor, record books full of his name. Elena's father. The guy who saved Colonel Rhodes' life back in Afghanistan with a shot nobody thought possible. Things changed in an instant. The unit kept missing every shot, a little more humiliating than the last. Rhodes fumed. Elena, barely above a whisper, asked Ramirez, "Would you let me try?" Ramirez hesitated, but something about her, maybe it was the calm, maybe the way she knew this range better than anyone alive, pushed him to go to the colonel. "Sir, I have a request. There's a civilian who wants to demonstrate proper marksmanship." Rhodes gave him the death glare, but when Ramirez said her last name, something clicked. Vega wasn't just any name at Fort Bennett. "Bring her forward," Rhodes ordered, cold as steel. "But if this goes bad, it's your career." Elena stepped up, calm as the sunrise, old Remington 700 in her hands, and stood at the 1,000-yard line. She opened her notebook for Rhodes, showing calculations that would make any sniper jealous. "My father taught me very morning since I was 12. I learned this range with my own sweat, not his reputation." Rhodes, face softening just a hint, said, "All right, not at a paper target, let's see you split this." He tossed her a battered silver dollar, Luis Vega's old lucky coin. "You hit this, you prove your point." The whole range went silent. Even the wind held its breath. Rhodes stepped off, wound up, and sent the coin spinning into the morning sky, sunlight glinting off its edge as it climbed. Elena's world narrowed to a single breath, one smooth exhale, finger easing down, years of training coiled up in that moment. The shot rang out, crisp and final. The coin shattered midair, two pieces dropping in the sand like it was always meant to happen. Nobody moved. Then Rhodes started clapping, slow at first, then faster, till the whole range was on their feet. Elena, tears in her eyes, handed back the rifle and just stood there, as if the applause was for someone else. Rhodes picked up the coin halves, handed her his unit insignia. "You don't represent this unit. This unit represents you." Next day, Elena didn't show up for her usual routine. 8 months gone just like that. Ramirez found a package on his desk, spent brass engraved, "Honor needs no audience. Excellence speaks in whispers." A note, "Thank you, Lieutenant. Yesterday wasn't about proving I could shoot. It was about proving I'd honored 10 years of my father's lessons." Word of the shot raced through the Army faster than any official report ever could. The one-shot club, Starter Private Johnson and the others met after hours, not to gossip, but to remind each other what one chance can mean. Within months, the idea spread: more cross-training, more respect for the quiet ones, even a couple of new instructors, all inspired by that impossible shot. No one heard from Elena again until, 2 years later, Rhodes received a postcard from Montana, nothing but a mountain and a return address for a precision rifle shop. Lead designer, E. Vega. Rhodes smiled, not surprised. His final report to the War College closed with this: "Excellence is quiet. Excellence is persistent. Excellence is measured not by applause, but by precision when no one is watching." That story became required reading, but honestly, the real lesson lived on in the ones who saw it with their own eyes. So let me leave you with this before you judge someone by their silence. Before you assume the quiet one's got nothing to offer, remember Elena Vega and that split silver dollar. Sometimes, the greatest talents don't want the spotlight, they just need someone to hand them the rifle and step aside. What would you have done if you were there? Would you have given her that one shot? Drop your thoughts below. Do you believe excellence needs an audience? Or is the truest greatness the kind that goes unseen? Let's talk about what real potential looks like, and who in your life might be waiting for their chance to prove the impossible is just unpracticed.